Hey traders, and happy Sunday to you. Each week I take a look at the markets and talk about trade setups for the week ahead, as well as trades that I myself am in and what I plan to do with them. Today, I'm going to do just a quick recap on everything that happened last week, as NFP was a wild week within our signals group. We were able to catch some incredibly profitable moves on gold and the S&P 500. So I want to go through those really quick with you just to show you where we're at. So last week, towards the end of the week, I took 3 different trades: euro dollar, S&P 500, and gold. I took buys on the S&P, buys on gold, and shorts on EURUSD. This one ended up being a loser, while the other two are very well in profit. So really awesome end of last week. I'll show you guys where I'm at with this gold trade. So I ended up getting long here on gold at the 1830 mark, a 50% retracement after this recent high. We came off the highs, pulled back, lined up nicely with support here, and I picked up the buy position, shared it within the signals group in the Discord. So price launched off of that, and with NFP, it caught some wind in the sail, if you will, on the actual release, which was awesome, carrying our trade nicely into profit. Now, of course, the other one that I am currently in is the S&P 500. Now, both of these trades I'm still in. I'm in S&P 500 longs and gold longs as well. This one I bought at the bottom of a range and looking really quite good. Let me see if I can show you where we're at with that trade. So here is my current positions. Now I trade on Webull as I'm in the US. I have limitations on Forex brokers, so I'm actually able just to trade stocks and gold from within my own broker. But I'm up $2,200 just shy of on the SPY trade, and on my little itty bitty gold trade, I'm also up another $129. So nothing crazy here, but we're in those trades and things are looking good. So ended out the week floating up about $2,500, and on some other positions, you know, up $3,000 or $4,000 on the day. It was a fantastic day on Friday, and I wanted to talk a little bit about where we're going next. Like, what's the next move here? So of course, what I'm looking for with the S&P 500, if it's something that you also trade or watch, is looking for a break and retest. This is something I've been calling for, and this is why, you know, although we're at the top of this range, I'm not looking to just take profits. We had a killer move on Friday, and with all that price action to the upside, I'm watching carefully for a breakout and a continuation move. Now, I do plan on trailing my stop loss, which is below structure, into profit here to make sure that if price does actually retreat off of these highs, I'll still make money on my S&P 500 trade, even if we withdraw from the 3,900 range, which we hit on Friday. Overall, like I said, pretty bullish, looking good here on the bottom of this range. Just picked it up with a stop loss, and now being cautious to see if we can actually break out higher. If we do, like I said, I'll look to trail stops and continue holding. But in both ways, I'll probably make, or I definitely will be making money on this S&P 500 trade. Now, going back to gold here, for those of you who watch gold, what's the next move? Well, it looks really quite bullish here. And in my personal opinion, this 50% level, it wasn't perfect. There was some volatility there, but overall, very little drawdown before price rallied in our favor there, netting quite a nice profit on gold there. So what's the next move? Well, gold here, as we retest the highs, did something really cool. On Friday, it closed above the previous high. This is a beautiful price action move. When you see this, it just shows you that bulls are strong enough to actually secure the area that they're contesting, right? If you think about it, there's a bunch of sellers probably who are thinking, hey, you know, I'd like to try and sell this thing. We got to push it back down. And then when that fails and price actually ends up printing this beautiful green candle outside of the top of resistance, you've got to wonder, are there going to be a lot of shorts who are going to get suddenly triggered on the stop loss side of things as this thing potentially continues to trail higher. I think we have potential to see a strong gold market this year, as 2022 was pretty awful, and now with inflation sort of coming down and the Fed backing off, it seems like we may have some room for gold to make some sort of recovery trend here in the new year. And that's exactly why we are long. So I do plan on holding that one and continue to look for opportunities to trail stops. Again, my stop loss was below the lows here, so I am in definitely a good position to go ahead and trail stop loss behind market structure a bit tighter. I will probably look to do so on market open for those of you who are within the VIP group. Like I said, I'll be sharing my trade updates right here with you guys inside of the Discord. If you don't already have Trade Alert access and you would like to see every trade that I take, as well as Frank and Ivan, my two trading companions here at A1 Trading, then I encourage you, sign up, use the link down below in the description. We have a 20% off sale going on right now. And if you use that link and promo code down below, you'll be able to join us. So for the gold traders out there, like I said, we've broken above, and in my opinion, maybe there's even an opportunity to potentially add around 1860 if we get the break. Now, I will say here, on the gold side of things, we probably need to see it clear a bit higher before we can assume, okay, yeah, this is just a complete, buy the retest kind of thing. I'd like to see this thing squeeze up into this area, show total dominance from the buyers so that we know it's not just a fake out kind of thing, and then look for the pullback, in which case perhaps looking to add. And in that case, definitely if we were able to add and hold that move nicely, we would definitely be taking stop loss and moving it up into profit substantially, probably at least around the 1850 mark, if not higher. So great spot to be in if you're a gold bull. We are loving the price action here and continue to be long inside of the group. Next up, we'll take a look at the EURUSD, which is one that I got a loss on last week. So enough talking about my winners. Let's discuss a loss really quick. And so where are we at with the EURUSD? Well, I'm still bearish, but price action kind of hit me in the face when it came to Friday's market move. So again, I look to get short here. I talked about this on live stream. We had a nice crisp breakout to the downside. Loved this price action. And I'm not going to lie, I still like the trade that I took, even though it was a loser, right? Many times traders think that, to be profitable, you need to always just be correct about the markets. And if you take a loss, it's because your strategy was bad and that you're missing something. Again, I loved this trade. I took this trade off of the 38.2% retracement. It came back up into resistance, and sure, this one didn't work out, but here's the thing. If you only ever focus on things when they work out and you try and justify why you were wrong every time, you're going to be switching strategies left, right, and center. For me, this is a trade that meets my criteria. And again, I'll show you, this was a trade off the hourly chart. So price launched to the downside, fell apart here. And on a retest of this area, my entry actually was crisp. If you guys inside of the group will remember this, I mean, I took this trade and within 30 seconds to a minute, we were in a lot of profit. And then within 30 minutes, we had seen a really nice drop. Unfortunately, though, the market had another thing coming for us and ended up stopping me out as we broke above. So I took a small loss on this one, and that is what it is. Now, the question is, going forward, EURUSD, is it time to sell again? Well, here's my thoughts. If we go back to the 4-hour chart, I really liked the fact that we sort of broke structure, but I have to acknowledge that we're still sort of looking like we're trying to recover back into that uptrend that we saw in the euro dollar. So I'm going to pause on my short setups, though if we see price action start to form another potential reversal pattern like we saw last week, then maybe I'll look to get short again. But again, I would like to see things rolling over. And if I actually do see that, I will, of course, share that trade signal within the Discord group. So didn't love the way that thing stomped me out of my trade, but I would be open to the idea if it were to, for example, take out the lows again, maybe a retest sell for continuation on the sell side. Now, of course, the other thing I wanted to show you guys, here's your smart money tracker data. I try to do this once a week so you guys can see it. This is what COT is dating. COT data is telling us as of the latest, which is basically tracking smart money moves in the market. The highest bought assets when it comes to the COT data, showing us that gold is heavily bought. We've got euro still heavily bought, NZD heavily bought, and USD heavily bought. These things giving us a bullish reading from what smart money tends to be doing right now. We flip it around, we take a look at the other end of the spectrum. We have the most bearish areas. We have things like JPY, CAD, AUD, and the SPX500. Now, you may notice that I am still long the S&P 500 despite COT data going sort of in the other direction, which is true. It was mostly a technical trade that I took that has just exploded on me. So now I'm looking to trail stops. So I don't always 100% of the time trade only with COT data, as you'll see in a second when it comes to the Edge Finder. The watch list uses a whole bunch of different things, right? We use retail sentiment, seasonality, trend reading, GDP growth, inflation, unemployment, and interest rates. We use all this data to build a bias one way or the other on particular assets. And so when we talked about EURUSD is on there as a sell. And even though, we don't have 100% everything agreeing to the sell side, we still have a lot of things to the sell side. And so it gives me enough confirmation to potentially take a trade, but not quite as much, for example, as something like pound USD or pound NZD, which is a good one to take a look at next. Let's go look at pound USD. So if I pull up pound USD on the Edge Finder data, what we can see here is that we're getting a strong sell. And when we look at the different categories in this little table right here, we see that COT data contributes -1 to the score. The higher the the higher the number, the more bullish. The lower the number, the more bearish the signal actually is that's generated. So if I take a look at COT data, what we're seeing is that the US dollar is very heavily bought right now by institutional traders. And when we flip it around, the GBP is very heavily short by institutional traders. That's just one of the several metrics. I won't go into all of them right now, but basically a lot of the economic numbers are bearish. The trend is bearish. Seasonality is positive, but net, we get a nice sell bias on pound USD. So now let's go take a look at the price action and see if there's actually a setup that we could look to potentially be a part of. Here's our daily chart where you can see we've sort of got this super long-term uptrend that kind of seems like it's been falling apart recently. But again, when we narrow in, we can see if there's actually something moving here for us. And as we approach the end of last week, you can see we tapped up into a pretty solid level of resistance. And in my opinion here, this actually doesn't look terrible for possibly looking to get short. Now, of course, like I said, that is my opinion. I'm not telling you certainly this is going to work or anything like that. This is just my thought. I take losses all the time. It's about letting winners run when they do occur. So anyways, let's say I'm looking at the pound USD and I'm saying, okay, short bias here at 1.20, 86%, let's say. Stop loss would probably be about 68 pips to the upside there, and looking for at least a continuation back down to the lows. If the trend is really here flipping into the downside, we would expect things to make a nice move back down to the lows and perhaps even beyond. And so if I was to be in this short, and again, like I said, if I take the trade, it'll be shared inside of the Discord. Stop loss would be above the highs, looking for continuation. And at that point, I would look to trail stops nicely into profit. That setup right there is a 3.7 to 1, meaning that if you were to invest or take a risk of $100 on your trading account with the proper lot size, then you'd be looking at $372 of profit approximately had we go back down to the lows. So just an idea. I do like pound USD. Again, we have confirmation from the Edge Finder as well as technical setup that looks pretty good. I like pound USD on the sell side. Let's keep going, see if we can find some other things in our watch list here. And if we look at this, so EURUSD does have a sell bias, but we already kind of discussed that one. Let's take a look at the other side of things. Perhaps CHF JPY, which is coming up as a possible long setup here. And let's see if there's anything off of like the hourly chart. So if we take a look at this, what we'll see is that price is making a move higher, but we sort of entered into consolidation towards the end of last week. You can see there is our range bound market. And if we flip around here on the top, you can see we also have a bit of resistance in this area. We'll mark that as supply. And so what you can see is prices sort of entered into this range bound market, but because we have a bullish bias, let's say price is able to sort of pick up some steam going into the new week, and we actually break out of that 143.20. Here is another potential watch list setup for us to think about. And again, we can go back to the Edge Finder, just do a quick look at CHF JPY and ask ourselves, why does this potentially look bullish? And let's go right here, CHF JPY. So CHF JPY, if we take a look at the trend reading, this is the only thing that's sort of going against us, but every other category is bullish. So we're waiting for that trend to flip bullish before everything else sort of looks positive. COT data, the CHF is much better off in terms of, a super heavy short position on the COT data for the yen. And then when we take a look at retail sentiment, the crowd is very short on CHF JPY. And if we know the crowd is short, that's a potential red flag that the move next could actually be a move higher, as oftentimes the stop losses of retail traders get nailed as things continue to trend against them. Seasonality, the month of January tends to be a positive month, although slight, for CHF JPY. All numbers in terms of economic data, GDP, inflation, unemployment, and interest rates all look more attractive for the Swiss franc. So that is a nice little confirmation bias, knowing that the economic numbers tend to favor the Swiss franc or Switzerland. And so when we look at this trade, I'm not going to be looking to get short. There's a lot of factors here that tell me, okay, if I'm going to take a trade personally, I'd be more interested in looking for something like this, right? A breakout, a retest, and looking for continuation moves as this thing potentially heads back to the highs, for example, with an idea of making a move up to 144.86, let's call it, right? So something like this could actually be a trade setup that I look at sometime this week if things start to make a move higher. But again, I like to trade with momentum, so I'd want to see that momentum start to pick up, give me that retest idea, and then looking for continuation plays from there. Let's go back to the Edge Finder and see what else is on the watch list, if anything that sticks out to us really interesting. Some buys here. I'm trying to stick to the ones that look very interesting. So let's actually look at Pound New Zealand, which has a strong sell bias. And if we take a look here on the 4-hour chart, you can see it's pretty dang choppy. So I'm not gonna lie, I don't love this chart. It is very, very back and forth, but we still do see a lot of confirmation in terms of economic data over here, right? GDP, inflation, unemployment, interest rates, trend reading to the downside overall. Retail sentiment must be basically telling us that the crowd is very long in this asset. That's why it's getting us a bearish signal. And COT data telling us that institutional traders tend to be on the long side of the New Zealand dollar relative to the pound dollar. So overall, not my favorite chart, but one to watch in case things do start to actually trend nicely on that currency cross. Euro pound is another one that a lot of people have been trading recently, as this one's been making some nice moves. During the holiday, this was like the one asset that was like really moving well. And so, you know, what I'd like to see for this one personally would be, again, probably some continuation, some follow through somewhere before I'm looking to try and join a move. Let's say, for example, we have resistance up here at 88.60. If price does actually break through that level, if we do something like this, then again, we have possible continuation plays to look out for. And that seems to be the name of the game. A lot of things sort of entering into consolidation to end the week last week. If we're able to break out to the upside, that would be a potential buy there on EURGBP. Looking for a continuation move, ideally. So that's another one that I think could be of interest. Now, if you're more of a range-bound trader, you might be able to catch something on the downswing here if that's more your style. But like I said, for me, I like to see things trading in momentum and then looking to try and continuation play it the best I can. So that's where I'm at with EURGBP. Let's see, what else do we have? Now, I would like to show you guys, if you don't already have the Fed tracker, last week was a big week with NFP and jobs numbers. We still have some interesting forecasts with the Edge Finder showing us that in terms of institutional or Fed tracker data, right? If we look at interest rate forecasts, we're still expected to just get up into this area. You can actually see their projections here at 5.25%. That's sort of the expectation right now, with inflation continuing to curb the longer these stay nice and high to sort of combat that inflation. From there, we'll see what the next projections come out to be. If we're going to then expect to see interest rates decline or stay the same longer than expected, this is the game that this is basically the big Game of Thrones that goes on with central banks and trying to control inflation with monetary policy, etc. Of course, this is a lot of stuff. If you're newer to the Edge Finder, I would encourage you to try it out. We do have free trials available on the website. But if you'd like to if you've been watching the streams for a while, watching for the content for a while, and you want to go ahead and just get access to the Edge Finder, we are doing a 20% off sale on the Edge Finder and the VIP group that I mentioned earlier. If you want to come trade with us, this is no nonsense stuff. We are real traders backed by myfxbook.com. No nonsense. If you're looking for realistic growth in terms of your trading, if that is your plan, you know, then you are along for the same sort of concepts that we are. We're not here to try and get rich quick. We're here to trade conservatively and build wealth over time. If that is a message that you agree with, join us inside of the Discord. It's a one-time fee and it will be worth your money. I am very confident in that. You get so much value out of the group as well as access to our tool. It is a one-time fee as well for the Edge Finder. If this has been helpful to you and you want to get access to it for yourself, again, it's a one-time fee. You just sign up for it on the website and you get access very shortly after. So there you go, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in today. If you did enjoy the content, make sure to smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new. I do this every single week for free, and I hope that you continue to enjoy them. Thank you very much. See you next time.